the attitude that people have towards this stuff is like, why is there so much fucking bloodshed? Why are we spending so much money? Why the fuck are we doing any of this? We shouldn't do this at all. I mean, I have no faith in the Democratic Party, for the record. I have no faith in the Democratic Party to do the right thing here. But here it is. Where the hell are the popularists? 60% of Americans oppose war with Iran while just 16% support it. Yet Dem leadership won't stick up for the majority that's against another forever war. The Democratic Party was always the war hawk party, but the war hawk elements within the Democratic Party have basically taken complete control over the Democratic Party, and they're confident and comfortable in this position. It's not that they are reacting to public sentiment, and that's why they're pro-war, because they think it's a winning fucking attitude. They're pro-war because they actually are pro-war. They're pro-war because they are beholden to the main constituents that they only care about, the military-industrial complex, the corporate benefactors that they will always ride for, Israel, that they will always put above the interests of the American population. It's a moment of honesty for the Democrats. It's not that they are like, being pushed to take a fucking pro-war position to win some fucking mythical base of support. Nick Mullen, just a heads up to my fellow MAGA posters on here. If you're still supporting Trump 100%, it's going to be a tough fight as he does more 5D chess and completely contradicts everything he campaigned on. I don't want to alarm anybody, but you're going to have to be prepared to suck his dick and eat his cum to prove your loyalty. Possibly also let him bust in your ass. This patriot, I'm ready. Trusting the plan. I love that. What's really funny is like whenever Nick Mullen posts like this, like Trump supporters would be like, I thought you were racist. Why are you doing this? I don't understand. I thought you were racist like me. I like you because I thought you were racist. And it's like, yeah, because you're stupid. I mean, where are the fucking popularists when it was time to talk about Gaza? That was also an endlessly popular position to stop Israel. And they lost the election because they wanted to defend Israel's baby murder campaign. They were nowhere to be found. Where are the popularists when it comes to modest social democratic initiatives? They're nowhere to be found. It almost feels like they just are looking for a way to try to make it seem as though to try to sell their unpopular agenda with this popularist attitude. Let's hear what Ro Khanna said, because we're on the Ro Khanna cycle, on the good side of the Ro Khanna cycle right now. And then I'll see what the Democratic leadership has to say.
I thought it'd be useful to show some polling, the first that we have on this. And again, this is early. I think these are fairly dynamic situations that can change. And obviously there are parts of, like, say, Fox News that are trying to change this. But this is the first polling we have. Economist YouGov. Among U.S. adults, should the U.S. military get involved in Iran? That's a big number. Yes, 16%. No, 60%. Don't know, 24%. Among Republicans, yes, 23%. No, 53%. 24% don't know. You surprised by that?
I'm not. I mean, this country is weary and exhausted of war. Frankly, I'd like the Democratic Party at least to be unified in calling for these resolutions, Senator Kaine, Senator Sanders, and mine in the House to come for a vote. I mean, you should have Senator Schumer was frankly ambiguous in whether he wants to stand against this war. We need to be clearly positioning ourselves against the war. Now, some people will say, oh, there's support when you look at a strike on Fordo to take out the nuclear facility. It's more close in the polls. That's like if you had asked in the Iraq war context, do you want to take out surgically Saddam Hussein? I'm sure you would have gotten support for that. The problem is wars never end that way.
Right.
And it's inevitable. It will draw us into a messier war, and Americans don't want that.
Let's see what my goat Hakeem had to say. My statement on the recent developments in the Middle East. Iran is a sworn enemy of the United States and can never be permitted to become a nuclear-capable power. Israel has a right to defend itself against escalating Iranian aggression, and our commitment to Israel's security remains ironclad. The authority to declare war belongs solely to the United States Congress. President Trump and his administration must refrain from engaging in offensive military action in Iran without explicit approval of the House of Representatives and the Senate, which we will give. Just do it the right way. Aggressive diplomacy resulting in a longer and stronger agreement that permanently halts Iran's nuclear aspirations is the most appropriate course of action at this time. I can't stand these motherfuckers, man. I can't stand them. I cannot stand these motherfuckers. Here's the translation from Adam Johnson. I agree with every premise of war with Iran And I think they're a cartoon villain in urgent need of bombing. But before president does so, he must come to Congress so we can rubber stamp it. Thank you. They are so out of step with the popular sentiment here. It is mind boggling. You got a very unique situation where a westernized American ally that has been presented as the most moral nation and America's most valuable ally in perpetuity is being fucking bombed by what has been presented as cartoonishly evil desert people, and no one in the broader public is even making a fucking peep. They're either too busy making strike compilations and learning fucking Farsi words like bomb and bomb Tel Aviv, or they're just quietly fucking celebrating this shit. And I don't think that's appropriate, for the record. I think that should be condemned. But that is the overall public sentiment. And these dumb fucks are like, no, Israel has a right to defend itself. Like, think about that. This is America. America has hated Muslims in fucking perpetuity post 9/11. And you got this insane situation where the country that has been seen as like the extension of America in the region is being bombed by the country that is the major villain in the region, comprised of like these scary Muslims, and Americans are not letting out a fucking peep. They're not even saying like, oh yeah, we got to stand with Israel. Think about that for a second. Is it because they found Khamenei's old tweets about women and how they are angels that must be preserved? How they are flowers that must flourish? Is that why? Is it because they found Khamenei's old tweets? By the way, Ayatollah Khamenei is the only motherfucker who has gotten the reverse Twitter treatment. This has never happened. Most of the time, when you go back in people's Twitter history, you find horrible things, okay? This guy, on the other hand, is the Islamic fundamentalist leader that is a repressive leader. And they're looking at his past tweets from like 2014, 2015, and realizing he's cute, that he's a cutie pie. It's like you go to a shop. When you come out, your money's gone, but you've bought things. What's important, what you purchased, is worth the fortune. What is this? There are Jews living in various countries. In Iran, Jews live respectably because it's their own country, but Zionism is different from Judaism. He's getting the reverse milkshake duck treatment. Trees and plants are channels to vast and various food resources beneath the earth. They've suffered from man's inconsideration over the past decades. Under normal circumstances, you have like someone who's fucking woke or whatever, okay? You'll find someone who's like woke, and then people will look up will look up their past tweets, and you'll go, oh my God, this guy was a horrible monster. He was like so racist. And then people will cancel him. What's ironic in this circumstance is Ayatollah Khamenei is not supposed to be fucking woke, and people are looking at his past tweets and they're going, oh my God, what a cutie pie. You can't leave all tasks to your wife, then criticize her, even if she's a scientist / politician. Yet when when interacting within family, she's a flower. Ayatollah, the religious fundamentalist Ayatollah, is fucking more of a wife guy and more woke than fucking Playboy Cardi. They celebrate a day for abolition of slavery, but such crimes are committed against the blacks. Hashtag Eric Garner, hashtag Trayvon Martin, hashtag Black Lives Matter. The Ayatollah at the time, Khamenei, was unironically, this is in 2015, was more woke than Barack Obama, the first black president of the United States of America. Women are stronger than men. Women can completely control and influence men with their wisdom and delicacy. The point is not that like the Ayatollah is woke, for the record. I'm fucking obviously joking. He is not, okay? And the reason why I brought this up as a separate point is because I just wanted to bring this up and bring this to your attention because it's been going viral. And I think it's very funny that Americans are recognizing that like you can be a religious figure that is incredibly oppressive while simultaneously having, containing multitudes within sometimes inherently contradictory positions in your assessment. of certain things, because turns out they're not fucking cartoon villains that are like comically evil. No one really is. I guess maybe Benjamin Netanyahu. Public sentiment has not turned pro-Iran at any point. They're not pro-Ayatollah. No one is going, oh my God, maybe religious fundamentalism is the way. That's not the point. The point is, in spite of people's social conditioning geared towards thinking that these are cartoonishly evil desert people that must be bombed into oblivion, this is the overarching public sentiment in perpetuity to justify the war on terror post 9/11. Despite that kind of attitude that people have, Israel's violence and Israel's arrogance in terms of demanding more from the United States of America has created so much resentment in the Western world that, in spite of all that previous social conditioning, people are still either awfully quiet right now and not defending Israel, or directly antagonistic to Israel at a time when, under normal circumstances in the past, people would be showing support to Israel and Israeli society.
Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the United Kingdom.
So this right here is a perfect demonstration, I think, and he does like a HasanAbi method here, but this right here is a perfect demonstration of like the broader sentiment I have also seen in my normal conversations with like normies.
Is that the most insane thing anyone's ever heard? Are people right now in the United Kingdom, is their biggest problem Iran? What is this woman speaking of? What is she talking about? What is anyone talking? Is Iran the reason that no one can afford a house? Is Iran the reason that there's fentanyl everywhere? Is Iran the reason that we've got political corruption? Is Russia the reason? Is Iran the reason that we have 12 people that own everything in this country? Is Iran the reason that we have, an epidemic of poisoned food that's killing people and children? And is Iran the reason for any of this? Is Iran the reason that corporations in America just pillage and leave a trail of death and destruction in their wake? Is Iran the reason we have no health care? I mean, this is the most insane thing I've ever heard. She's saying Iran's the enemy of the UK because people pop off. The mullahs in Iran talk a lot of shit. What are they doing? Did Iran attack the UK? Did Iran attack the United States of America? Is Russia attacking the United Kingdom or the United States of America? Am I wrong? But when she says, just get her out of here. But when she says they're fighting a proxy war on behalf of us, and that's what the Ukraine is doing for Russia. It's on behalf of us. Number one, it's very dangerous to say because, number one, there's a lot of people in this country that are not trying to get in a war with Russia. I mean, we're not trying to do that. I don't want to be in a war with Russia.
This is the normie take. This is the closest to the normie take, which is the attitude that people have towards this stuff is like, why is there so much fucking bloodshed? Why are we spending so much money? Why the fuck are we doing any of this? We shouldn't do this at all. Like, I don't give a shit that Iran is like religious fundamentalist. And I know for a fact, like, I'm not saying this is my position, by the way. I'm saying that the overall, the broader public sentiment now is basically, I don't fucking care what they're doing over there. Yeah, it's bad, but I don't think bombing them is going to solve it. And if anything, it's going to make things worse. We've seen what has happened in Iraq. We've seen what has happened in Afghanistan. Fix the goddamn potholes. Why the fuck are we fighting this war on behalf of Israel? That's like most people's feelings are that. They don't understand that America and Israel are doing this in a collaborative effort. Maybe sometimes Israel takes on a more militant advisory role that American leadership will abide by because it benefits their overarching interests regardless. But it doesn't matter. Americans are not making this calculation from that perspective. They literally think, oh, Israel's like calling the fucking shots here, and it is ridiculous that we're going to fucking war with Israel. We're going to war with Iran at the behest of Israel. What the fuck did Iran do? Here's another point for the normie take.
Into a war with Iran or not, America, if Israel is trying to. I don't trust the Israel leader at all. I don't believe anything that guy says. And I don't think that our soldiers should have to go and defend stuff that they start. I'm not a soldier, so I'm obviously speaking out of turn. I'm not even brave enough to serve, so there's that element. But that is kind of how I feel, I guess. And so it's like, yeah, when do I speak? When do I say that? You know? Because it feels like they're trying to push Trump to go do that. And it's like, who makes that choice? Does he make that choice? And then what do we get? You know, what's the win for us? We're just involved in some other thing while we have suffering here at home. So maybe something like that is like, yeah, do I have, should I even speak up? Because I'm not in service. Servicemen and women may be like, we'll do it, you know, and that's their commitment and their job. But yeah, I don't know. That guy really scares me. And I don't know why we support them. I don't understand that. I wish they would really give us a better explanation, you know, especially after the massacres in Gaza. I don't understand. I do not understand that. And some people say, well, you don't know enough about it. That may, and I may not. But it's like, can I still speak about it? Can I speak about how I feel about it?
Even the very fact that there's like a level of concern about the backlash that he might receive as a consequence of the backlash that he already received when speaking out against Israel doing a genocide, like that fear in and of itself is another thing that certainly breeds resentment towards Israel. Like I've said before, Americans are somewhat selfish, okay? They're selfish people. And as selfish people, even if they think, oh, that's just war going on over there, even from the perspective of like, why are our tax dollars going to defend Israel is a real fucking point of consideration for the average American. Why are we spending so much money on Israel? Why are our politicians so servile to Israel? Why are we going to war with Iran at the behest of Israel? And last but not least, why can't I say anything about this without receiving a tremendous amount of scrutiny, without people fucking yelling at me and maybe even getting me in trouble? All of these things combined breed tremendous resentment towards Israel. Okay? From the average person's perspective, they don't make this calculation of like, well, imperialism is the final stage of capitalism. It's an absolute necessity. When profit rates have a tendency to decline, we have to constantly seek out newer markets to dominate by military force and be an ever-present force of dominance around the planet so that we can enjoy, cheap T-shirts and cheap commodities here. Like, they don't think about being a firm and committed part of the labor aristocracy. These are not calculations that people are making. They're not thinking about Israel's role in American foreign policy. They're just looking at Israel is this foreign country that is seemingly more important than the average American. That is precisely the reason why when Ted Cruz unironically is being honest about the role that Israel plays, or when Merz is honest about the role that Israel plays doing our dirty work, that's what he said, the German chancellor, they're right, they're correct. But the average person doesn't recognize that because they just think it's a foreign country. Why the fuck are we constantly in war? It also, even if we were to go to war, even if it was not at the behest of Israel, and Americans realize that like we were just doing this, just like with the war in Iraq, okay? That still breeds resentment over time where you're like, why are we spending so much goddamn money on this shit, dude? Why are we not spending the goddamn money on us, on ourselves? What the fuck is going on here? There is a reason why I don't fucking actively rail against Theo, in spite of the fact that he says stuff like this and then still hangs out with, like, Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who is most responsible for a lot of the instability in this region with his Abraham Accords, right? The reason why I don't fucking do that is because he still has an empathetic voice of reason for a lot of fucking Republicans who can have their minds changed, okay? Do you understand? You sometimes have to be cool, be chill. recognize the role, the different roles that people like this play